Hello, boys and girls and children of all ages. Fat Bastard Wannabe Buddha coming at you today. Today, I'm basically going to discuss that the little concept that's going around throughout the little interwebs that people get really upset when you tell people that Hearthstone is play to win, or that there's a massive amount of RNG involved in the game itself, in the sense that it really isn't as skill based as people think. People normally dismiss people who talk like that as, hey, you're just upset because you're not really good at the game. I'm not really good at this game. It's not my forte completely, but hey, I'm enjoying myself, and that's the whole purpose of playing these games. But to believe that you do not have to spend money in order to get a better deck is sort of sad. Hey, I got 100 gold. Let's buy some cards. I'm going to buy me one pack real quick because you do. My decks increased drastically when I spent 20 bucks. I spent 20 bucks and I was able to produce a great deck for it. Is there anything wrong with actually purchasing, cards and everything? No, there's nothing wrong with this, but there is an element of play to win. There just fundamentally is an element to it. You would have to grind this obscene amount of time and effort into this game if you did it without paying for cards. Yay! Oh, got an epic. Nope, no legendaries. Let's see what I got. Soul of the Forest, Druid. Another Wind Fury. Hey, a golden common. I like that. I probably would just disenchant it to build my deck. Mana Addict. I already got all my Mana Addicts now. Bane of Doom, a Warlock card that I will never ever use. But anyway, let's go to my collection and go into crafting mode and disenchant. Disenchant. Yay, I got 50 dust now. Whoop-de-doo. But there is a massive amount of RNG to the game itself. There's a massive amount of play to win. In order to build, my better decks is something like this Prophet Valen deck right here. Mind Control, Prophet Valen, Temple Enforcer, Jirbashi Berserker, Abomination, Light Spawn, Injured Blade Masters. A lot of these cards are really nice cards, but not really common. Even the really garbage, Candy Crush Hunter deck. Most of these cards, I mean, you're dependent on getting a Leroy Jenkins and a whole bunch of this other junk. There's a lot of blues in this deck. There just fundamentally is. And doesn't mean it's wrong or anything else, but actually I've seen a very good variation of this deck. Just throw some Faceless Manipulators in here for the later turns. And one of those great cards that, yeah, I know I'm rambling and getting off topic. But just throw a Faceless Manipulator in there and it helps you off. But it's also an epic card that you need to have, and I only got one of them. But the meta game of this is hopefully changing. This is a trash deck. I had to play it today, but I've only been playing casual. But there is a certain amount of RNG into the draws of the card, which is normally based. That's always the nature of these card games to begin with, and you are going to have to pay some money in order to build a decent deck. You just are. And this is one of the problems, I call it the Hunter deck, the Candy Crush deck. And the reason for that is there's a certain amount of, Candy Crush is a great and wondrous game. And because it's basically based on Tetris, which is one of the greatest games of all time. But the programmers in there deliberately program it to a certain degree that it really does force you, if you want to get to a certain level, of engaging in their marketing plan. And that's some of the problems that, I had with it, a little bit of what's going on with Hearthstone. That you got to really start questioning yourself. Is Blizzard making decisions based on what would increase their bottom line when they do programming decisions? Programming decisions. Not what's going to make them money and producing a great quality game, but inside the mechanisms of the game, you start doubting whether or not certain choices that are being made, certain cards and everything else, are really there to force you into the shop. Is it force you into actually going over here and purchasing decks? That's the bad thing about this model. And everybody says, "Oh, well, you got to compare it to Magic the Gathering. You got to compare it." Like I love Warhammer. I'm a huge fan of Warhammer, and you gotta compare it to that in the sense that you know, in order to really be decent at Warhammer, you have to spend a massive amount of money to build an army. In order to build a couple of decks in Magic the Gathering, you're going to spend a massive amount of money in that. Well, this is a video game. This is not a complete hobby. This is something that you want to be played for casual and everything else. I would be quite content if they slapped on, you know, a 49.95 or 59.95 price tag on this and charged you for the arenas and did some charging for the upgrades into goldens and everything else. They could redone this game in another means and then basically give you all the little pretty cards and still had a cash cow in a different avenue as opposed to upgrading, getting the golden rares and playing arena and other aspects. But fundamentally, the model that they chose, this basically is free to play, but to win, to get really good at it, to play it at the higher levels, it's going to be a little bit of play to win. That's just the nature of the beast itself. And the second comment, there's a lot of RNG in this thing. You can get cold deck right off the beginning. That's just the nature of these types of games. Card games, poker to Magic the Gathering is extremely RNG based. It's just luck. There's a ton of luck. But people say, oh no, this is skill based. There's a certain amount of skill based, but it's 50-50 luck. You can know all you want to in this game and still get trounced by someone who has no concept, who's running around playing this garbage deck right here. You can play this hunter deck and you can walk it to legendary. Just like you could play the Murloc deck and you could walk it to legendary. You could play that one-turn kill with Molten Giants, Baby Pandas, and walk that and charge and Warsong Commander and that warrior deck that was making its rounds. You could play that and walk all the way to legendary. And truthfully, it wasn't that skill based. It was just a random number generation working in your favor. But that's just the nature of card games. That just really is. It just a sad, sad state of affair in the nature of the card games. But I am absolutely hilarious to see how many people get so upset when you point out that, hey, in order to be really good at this game, you're going to have to dump maybe, at least $20, maybe more likely 60 to 80 to get really good at it, over $100 in this game. To get the cards in a timely fashion, you're going to have to dump a massive amount of money into this game. And it's just the way it is. And people get so upset. No, this is skill-based. This is so skill-based. No, it isn't. There's a certain amount of skill, but this ain't chess. It's not just because I'm upset that I lose at the game. I don't care. That's my whole shtick. My whole shtick is I lose. I lose over and over and over in the most colorful manner of speaking. That's part of my shtick. It gets me views. But it isn't skill based. But it's fun. And that's what it should be. And I do have concern that the model that Blizzard accepted for this and is implemented in this is making it more a play to win. And I think they could have made different design decisions and still made a massive amount of money and took some of that edge out of it. Just basically you pay X amount, you get the whole game. And if you want to upgrade and have pretty gold foil, or if you want to step into arenas, or hey, if you want to step into ranked matches, if you want to engage in that way, you can make that be monetarily based. But if you just want to play the game and build great decks, which is what I want to do with it, you should have they could have done a different thing. They could have did a different model, but I don't think fundamentally it would have been as advantageous for them. Anyway, that's the Fat Bastard Wannabe Buddha coming at you. I'm curious what other people say, and I can't wait to hear the hate on this one. Thank you very much.